All right, dudes. So I got a short list, and I think this is a good one. This is reasons I've seen dudes' businesses fail, and this has been my peers, and this is the things I've seen them do that have failed, or what guys have told me has happened to them. You know why their business failed, and I've kind of seen it's three guys, man, and I think I've got this in chronological order, and like this guy failed first, this guy's a little bit longer, and this guy's third, right? But there is a prerequisite as usual. It's a no dummies rule. So this doesn't, because if you're not good enough at the industry or skill or trade or whatever the hell you're selling, if it's not like a viable product, or you're a dummy, you're not good at this, none of this, you're not going to make it to the point where these are the problems, right? Like, so that doesn't count. So no dummies. Sorry. And if you think I'm mean for saying that someone's a dummy, think about all the jobs you've had. There's a lot of people you've worked with. Do you think that all of them can own a business and you think, oh yeah, they can be the boss and go run the show? No, there's a lot of people that can't do that, and that's just a fact. But so the first guy that's a viable guy that can do this, is qualified, and is going to have some success at the business. The first one I see fail is Mr. Big Man. Mr. Big Man is 6 months in, and he's got a lifted truck with fucking wheels and fucking, a new fucking side-by-side, a new cool toy hauler, spending a lot of time at the deer lease. Like, I'm fucking rich now. My business does so well. I can pay myself as much as I want, miss work as much as I want. Because it's like, you're doing good, and you see how good you're doing, and you think, fuck yeah, like, the good times will never stop. You know what I mean? I'm rich. And, like, I saw it, the potential with me, right? Because I was making money like a motherfucker. That's how I bought all these fucking vehicles and shit, right? But I didn't want to spend it on that. I didn't want to be Mr. Big Man. I wanted to, like, for real be Mr. Big Man one day. Like, actually get a lot of shit, right? So, that guy's the first to fucking fail. And you'll see those people, man. Those people exist without owning a business, right? This guy gets promoted to a freaking supervisor. All of a sudden, he pulls up in a Denali, and like that he's paying for. And it's like, damn, you just got like $1,000 a month raise and just like got a $1,400 truck payment out of nowhere. Like, what a fool, you know what I mean? You're actually worse off. But second guy to fail is Mr. One Customer guy. And I personally know two people that have failed because of this. Two people who, like, they get a good thing going. It's a viable product. They're subcontracting, or they got a big deal from this customer to make a bunch of these things. Like the one big customer problem. And so what happens with that is, like, I think I have to tell you guys the obvious issue where this lies is that work dries up, you dry up, right? And I know two plumbers that this has happened to, and they both told me, and both of them said the same thing, ironically. They both said, like, oh, the economy was bad. Economy was messed up, so we just had no more business. I was like, damn, what happened? They're like, contractor had no more jobs. And it's like, so we had no more jobs. And it's like, fuck that. Like, I had a job the whole time, right? Through those ups and downs in the economy. I was working, and I'll tell you a secret, guys. There's never been a time in my career where I was slow, because I've always been good at this shit. So people always fucking called me. So I've never been slow. So, like, the Mr. One Customer guy, that's an obvious way to fail. Diversify your stuff. Like, even right now, and construction makes it hard. Construction makes it hard to do, because you can kind of go from nothing to something real fast and get one customer that's giving you millions of dollars. Like, I have that customer. But if I lost that customer, it would hurt. It would hurt, but it wouldn't bankrupt me. I wouldn't have to fire people because I lost that one customer, because I'm so diversified. I have so many other, different things going on. So, and then the last guy to fail, he's not Mr. Big Man. He's smart. He's not Mr. One Customer. He knows all that shit, but he's Mr. Incharge. Mr. Incharge. It's all got to go through me. It's all got to go through me. And I think there's times where I've been a little guilty of that, but it really isn't me being Mr. Incharge here. It's just me, like, really understanding what my role needs to be in the company and when I can truly step back. And every time I've got the opportunity to step back, I have. And now I got Gina here. So let's talk about some examples of what I mean by Mr. Incharge, right? So Gina came in. I got the whole office to myself. That's why I can make this YouTube video in the middle of the day, because they're out there in the other building, right? And she's got Melissa working under her in the office, because there's a lot of paperwork shit to do, guys. Like, it's a lot. Someday I'll show you all that shit in there when they're not in there. But she told Melissa before she started that she was going to implement a dress code, and she wanted them to dress a certain way in the office. I don't agree with that. I personally think, like, who fucking cares? Like, why would anybody no customers come in here? Who cares if Melissa wears shorts? Or I just don't give a shit, right? But Gina cares, right? Well, Gina is a mega talent. She's a mega talent. So for me to get her to come over here was like, I'm, very fortunate because she was at like a really big position. So I'm asking her to bring her talents to South Beach. And I can't just say like, hey, thanks for coming, LeBron. Now don't do LeBron things. Do fucking the former Heat things. Like it's like, you gotta let LeBron be LeBron. You gotta let talented people be talented people. So I don't give a shit about this fucking dress code. I would rather have a company that doesn't have a dress code in the office if it doesn't matter, because that's me stupid. But it matters to Gina, so it matters to us. Because I've hired Gina and I'm gonna let her do her fucking thing. I don't have to have that control, right? Or Jeremy, the first guy I hired started like him, like he was in the wrong, bro. He was in the wrong. Started a bunch of shit with fucking Dustin. And, Dustin is, I trust Dustin implicitly. He's a manager here. He's very talented. He was a manager elsewhere before he was here. So I have to I can't say, hey, here, come run my service department and then let what happened happen and him not be able to handle that how he sees fit. So I can't tell him he can't do that. So, and Gina and Dustin have meetings and their own KPIs, their own standards for when they need to hire. And there's all types of shit that's going on behind the scenes without me, which is good. That's the way we grow. I've talked about that a lot. So you can't be Mr. Incharge. It's all got to go through me, because that's when you get limited, right? And it's true that you're either growing or you're dying. And that I know that sounds extreme and you're like, that's douchebag guru talk. But let's do the math on it, right? You're either growing on the vine or dying on the vine, because let's say you're not Mr. One customer, right? You've got multiple customers, but say a lot of one or two of these customers want to expand. They want more work from you, right? Now you either have to hire more guys to accommodate the ability to what this customer wants, which is growing, or you say, hey, so, you try to just accommodate what you have and start spreading thin on other people, start getting into that Mr. One customer situation just to take care of that one, or you have to grow, right? And if you say, no, we'll take as much work as you're giving us now, and you use somebody else for the rest of your shit, well, that other company's going to take all this shit from you. So you're going to start losing customers. There's no situation where the supply is static. If you think that's why everybody's wrong about Trump's tariffs. By the way, fuck Trump, right? The fucking pedo president, whatever, dude. Feel betrayed. Feel fucking betrayed by that shit. I don't give a shit. And maybe you guys will start to see the left wing shit like I see it now because of this fucking pedo president, not trying to go off on a tangent. And left wing isn't Democrat. Democrats are dwarfs. They fucking suck. They're not left wing. I'm left wing. And I'll call you a pussy, so that's different. It's not the same like the Democrats. They suck. Literally suck. Anyway, but they were wrong about his tariffs because they thought supply was static. They're like, oh, well, if you put this tax on these companies, they're going to just up the price. They're not going to do that. Just like I'm not going to do that. Everybody's like, oh, are you increasing your price because of the tariffs? It's like where I can get away with it, right? But if it becomes the breaking point between me getting this work or not getting the work, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather lose 10% profit and keep the work than not. Because I guarantee you, with these tariffs, what a lot of people find is if this shit's going to be more expensive, I don't actually need it. Right? It was like the good tools paradox for me. By the time I had the money and cared enough about getting good tools, I was so good at just getting it done with a pair of channel locks and a fucking screwdriver and just finding a way to make it work without any specialty tools or anything ever. I was just so good at it. It wasn't worth the time for me to go get them out of the truck. So by the time I had them, I didn't need them because I was so resourceful anyway. And I think it's the same thing with a lot of your shit. Supply is not constant. It's not. So you have to be prepared for that. You have to think of ways to increase the demand for your product by having more capabilities, larger market share, finding higher volume customers, and just not thinking it's going to stay that way forever, because it won't. So a lot of shit. Hopefully y'all don't hate me for it. Bye.